Hey my beautiful shining stars, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're having a wonderful day, night, whatever it may be. Know that you are amazing and that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. This video that I'm making right now is very special to me because it is dedicated to my father, Michael Jan Reloba, who has been through a over 2-year battle of cancer. And those of you who follow me or have been following me across my social media, you know that my dad has been battling cancer. And I just want to say thank you, everybody who has reached out and left an encouraging comment, who has been praying for me. And this is what I love about it. It's just like we may have never met before, but you guys know me, and I just love the fact that we could go beyond just putting up a front, but reach into each other's, like, the innermost being. And your guys' prayers and comment have meant the world to me, and it's just been so encouraging to see. My daddy, he went to be with the Lord on October 23rd, 2017, and he has left his mark on this world. My daddy was my biggest inspiration and my hero and #1 supporter, #1 fan of Charis and Star TV. He was just so encouraging and such a bright light and encouragement to my life. And I've tried to make this video a couple times, but it's been pretty hard to be honest. But the whole thing through it is, yes, I incredibly miss my father, and I will miss him. That's how it's gonna be. But the exchange that I get for losing my dad is getting that comfort and peace, knowing that he is in heaven, knowing that he is not suffering anymore, that he is no longer in pain, and he got his heart's cry. And his heart's cry, his life, as long as I have been alive, is to be with Jesus. And so knowing that gives me peace beyond understanding. It gives me comfort and it gives me joy. Yeah, there's joy in the midst of the pain, knowing that he is in heaven. And so I just wanted to share a bit about my father with you guys today. My dad was born in Stockton, California, 1954 to Buenaventura Reloba and Jesse Mata. And under the care of his brothers, he was raised till he was like around 5, and then he went into the foster care system. And he was in and out of the foster care system till he was about 12 years old. And in that foster care system, he experienced abuse. He was made to like do work. I remember him telling me a story that with one family, they had him try to do the dishes and he didn't do it right, and the man who was acting as his dad threw him across the room. I couldn't imagine why people treat children this way, but those are the kind of the things that my dad experienced in the foster care system. And when he was around 12 years old, what I knew as my grandma Juanita, she took him into her home and cared for him, and that's where he got brought up. My grandma Juanita, amazing woman of God, would always pray for my dad. And as my dad got older, he got involved with drugs and alcohol, and at one point he got so intoxicated that he was throwing up and he almost drowned in his own throw up. But God woke up my grandma Juanita and said, go check on Michael right now. And so my grandma went to go check on my dad and found him and pulled him out of that and saved his life. There was countless times in my dad's life, that's just one example of where God intervened to save him. And I believe it was in 1976, he committed his heart to the Lord. And at that point, he had met and married my wonderful, amazing mother, Mary Helen Reloba. I think they fell in love around like 15, 15, 16 years old. So like they were high school sweethearts, and that carried on. And I think they're around like 18, 19 when they got married. Through all that, my dad ended up getting saved, and what that meant for him is like he was a pretty good heathen. Like he, like, you know, those are the words that they use: drugs, alcohol, all that other stuff. And once he made that commitment to God, like ever since I've been born, ever since I was little, I've never seen my dad involved in any of that stuff. It was almost like the person that they told me my dad was, I didn't even know that person, because my dad got his life totally changed by God. And so I was raised with that, and I am so thankful, so thankful for that, because even with me growing up, I was brought up in church, but then I fell away in different areas of my life where I compromised, and I was really struggling. But then I came back around and made that full commitment to God, saying, I want to live my life for you. And I have it on my love story about how I struggled with suicide, how I attempted to take my own life, but God intervened and he saved me. He saved my life. He set me free from depression. He set me free from low self-esteem and self-hatred. He set me free from just all the different hardships and sin that I had in my life, and never had I experienced such joy, freedom, and just self-confidence, not cockiness, but confidence, knowing that God created me and I am a daughter of the King Most High, and I have value, not because of what this world says about me or what people say about me for validation. No, knowing that the creator of the universe, who created the heavens and the earth and the sky and the sea, created me. And if he calls me beautiful, then it doesn't matter what anybody else says. I'm beautiful. So that's who I'm talking about. I'm talking about my God and the impact that God had in my dad's life, and that impact that it had on my life. So with that being said, my dad was the most amazing example of Christ in my life. Meaning, he loved unconditionally. He forgave, like, no matter what had been done to him, and he had some pretty messed up things done to him in his life. He did not hold on to bitterness or our grudges. He was a man of forgiveness. He was a man of servanthood, meaning he put others before himself. He constantly was helping people, was serving people. He was a huge encouragement, not only in my life, but countless others. I remember just growing up and seeing homeless people on the streets, and my heart just broke, just seeing people that were down and out. And my dad, he always taught me, he was like, I don't want you to just give money, and not to say giving money to somebody is bad, but he's like, feed them, give them hope, give them that message of hope. So my dad, he would pick up homeless people, and he would feed them, like take them out to eat. He would give them that encouraging message of hope through Jesus, and he would pray for them and send them off like with a Bible or a track or something. So they had that to hold on to. And so like stuff like that to me just made my dad such an extraordinary man. And countless hours volunteering, because he was a carpenter and he worked so hard. There's 7 of us kids in our family, all by my mom and dad, and my dad worked so hard to keep a roof over our head and food on the table, like hard labor in construction industry. And even in that industry, my dad always wore these shirts, right? And these hats. They were almost like Christian memes in a way, but it would always like get people to stare at the church, and that was an opportunity for my dad to share God's love.
So how did you harness that talent and that passion? How did you give that support to her for her to be able to fulfill her dreams and reach her goals?
Well, basically, we brought her up in church and taught her about God and the love of God and the positive, influence that Christ has in our lives. And I actually credit it to Jesus, and I thank God for allowing me to raise her up to know Him. She has a nickname called Care Bear, and Charis, but she's always had her own, like in her own little world, and just very creative, and she's always been like a bright shining star. Out of 5 girls, she's definitely stood out.
How proud are you for your daughter?
Well, I tell everybody I'm her #1 fan, but I'm very proud of her. I'm glad that she's using makeup as a platform to share the love of Christ with others, bring hope to people.
If I could sum up my dad's life, it would be like follower of Christ, like somebody who shined the light of the Lord wherever they went. And that's how I know I'm gonna see him again. I know he's okay. I know he's dancing and singing and just free. Like his body is no longer decaying or suffering from a tumor and cancer. Like he's no longer bound to a bed, where he was paralyzed, towards the end of his life. He's no longer like that anymore. He's dancing and singing and praising the Lord. For anybody that's dealing with a loss of a loved one, or dealing with grief or pain or hurt, or going through a different trial or tribulation, something that's shaken you to the core, or where you feel so defeated, know that there's hope. And that hope came for me in Jesus. And that's how I was able to overcome the pain and the hurt. And I was able to mourn, but then again, I was able to have joy because of that. Just that assurance and that peace. So I just want to end this video saying thank you, Daddy. I love you so much. You're amazing. Thank you for being the best daddy I could ever imagine or hope for. Thank you for showing me the love of Jesus in your life and for giving me that hope and salvation. And I'm so excited to be able to see you once again. I can't wait till I can hug you and we could dance before the Lord and worship together. I just love you so much, Daddy.